Karma has come for me on this fatal Friday. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor. And Fatal Friday is a series where I look back on videos where I casually went into the Kombat League for Mortal Kombat 1, and I tried to get the unique finishers for the various characters like their fatalities and brutalities. This week the character I am using is Tanya, and I'm going for her fatality. Show of hands.
It is imperative that you protect Kitana too.
What becomes of her?
Take one. Action!
The random opponent that I got in the Kombat League this time around was somebody using Geras and the kameo Frost. If I wanted to get the fatality against Geras, I would have to meet my own standards of winning the entire set and then going for the fatality. If I happened to just win one match, I would not go for the fatality then. It would only be after winning the second match and winning the entire set. While I did not always do that, that is kind of my standard now to make sure that I do earn the fatality. After all, I feel like just about anybody could luck their way into winning one match. So we have a little bit of time before that fatality happens, but until then let's go ahead and talk about Geras. Not that long ago, I did a Li Mei video where I openly admitted that I really do not know all the things that Geras can do. That resulted in a set between Li Mei and Geras, where I was kind of just running away from Geras the entire match and mostly just using projectiles because I did not want to get attacked by the moves I did not know how to counter. Now we get to fast forward a little bit, and while I was using Tanya in this battle, my knowledge about Geras really had not changed. I was still not familiar with what he could do, but I was not really running away from Geras this time. Instead, that honor would go to my opponent. I really did not have to worry about not being familiar with this matchup because all he did for basically the entire match was run away and use Geras' sand geyser attack. If he just happened to be close to me, he would use the overhead body slam. At least he would most of the time. Like he does it right here. Towards the end, the person would mix it up a little bit. Like they would occasionally use the time stop snap attack, but they would never use the meter burn version of it that would actually stop time. So they weren't really doing any big combos, they were basically just sticking to the same few attacks the entire time, and the game plan was, stay away from me. So while I may have been super annoying to the previous Geras user that I fought against with all of my running away and zoning, well, I think this was the universe's way of getting back at me for that. Because in this match, that was what I was having to deal with the entire time. I was fighting this person and it was just a very time-consuming process. Considering this was already a match that came down to a third and final round to decide who would be the winner, this was a really long fight. The first round really wasn't too bad. Geras ended up winning that one with 35 seconds left on the clock, so just a little bit over 1/3 of the timer. But in the rounds after that, it would go lower. In the second round, it would go down to 23 seconds remaining, and then in the very last round, it would come down to 15 seconds remaining. So these were not short fights. They were not ending quickly, and we were using plenty of the clock while we tried to decide who the winner was going to be. Towards the end of this round, I do switch things up a little bit myself because I get a bit tired of Geras just constantly running away and going for the sand geyser, so I start implementing my own projectiles. And Sonya's rings are really good. They recharge fast, they do a bunch of damage, and they are a mid, so the person has to at least block them. That ended up making a big difference. After having to chase him around for 3 consecutive rounds, I did eventually pull off the first match victory. I only really managed to do so with just a little bit of health remaining, but hey, a win is a win. Even if it was a little bit annoying having to chase around Geras, I can't really complain about how close the rounds were because they were very competitive. Every single one of those rounds had ended with both of us being below 30% health, so at least that was making things interesting. But does all the running away from me change whenever we go into the second match? I mean, that would kind of make sense that there would be a little bit of a slight tactic change. After all, my opponent did lose. But I suppose they thought to themselves, those previous rounds were pretty close, I really don't have to change anything. I just have to get a little bit more lucky, and then maybe I will win. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what they were thinking, and the reason I say that is because they really don't change anything going into the second match. It was just a bunch of sand geysers, the overhead body slam, and I think I saw one of those time-stopping snaps get thrown out there. I think the only thing that was really different was the use of the ground stomp combo that knocks the opponent in the air and then leaves them open for a follow-up air combo. I know he does that at least once. I'm a little bit surprised he does not try going for that a little bit more, especially after doing all those overheads. It kind of felt like he would have been setting me up for that, but it really doesn't happen all that much. But no, instead of doing that or trying to do, well, any other combo or maybe trying to freeze me with frost and open up more combos, he just kept going for the same roughly 2 or 3 moves the entire time. Oh, and of course, he continued to run away most of the round as well. Just like in the previous rounds, we used plenty of the timer. The first round of the second match came down to 18 seconds remaining, and just like before, I was clinging to a small amount of health, but I would end up winning the round. Then in the second round, Geras is actually changing things up a little bit. Earlier I said that in real time, I did not know this matchup very well, but I have since looked into Geras and learned a little bit more about his moveset. Towards the beginning of the second round, my opponent tries doing a save state move that Geras has, where if I hit him, he returns to the original spot he was in. I had no idea what that move did in real time, but still it was nice seeing just something different. Oh, and speaking of different, he would also occasionally use the sand sweeping attack. Granted, that is just a sweep, but still it was different. And he would try using the low stomp attack 1 or 2 more times, maybe he would use frost a couple of times. But in spite of a few little differences, he still kind of had the same tendencies. He would still keep running away from me and trying to do the sand geysers and the overhead slams, and that was most of his game plan. So in spite of getting a small new variety of attacks, it was still kind of a lot of the same, and eventually we were both down to about 1 hit away from death. Geras tries going for a throw that I avoid, and after doing that I just do 1 final hit against him to finish off the match, and then we go for the fatality.
Fatality! Tanya wins.
So after chasing that fatality the entire set, that was the show of hands fatality for Tanya. Even though it was not the most enjoyable matchup for me, it was a very close one, so thank you to the random Geras opponent that I got in the Kombat League. Every single round for every single match came down to both of us being below 30% health, so that was a pretty exciting finish. I will be sure to show the fatality one more time at the very end of the outro, that way we can all enjoy it one more time before we part ways on this Fatal Friday. So looking ahead to my video schedule, I noticed that this is actually the second to last video I'm doing for Tanya's Day 1 finishers. I've already done all of her brutalities, I've now done this fatality, which means there's only 1 fatality remaining. I do end up using her one more time with Sonya to get one of her brutalities as well, but as far as her own Day 1 finishers, this is almost it for Tanya. So stay tuned for that, I'm sure it's going to be a good finish. For now though, thank you for checking out this video and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to check out the other things I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. I do have other Mortal Kombat 1 finisher videos just like this. I also have playthroughs of other games like Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, the remakes of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and a couple of other games as well, so if any of that sounds interesting to you, feel free to check it out. Regardless of what you do though, thank you for watching this video for this long. Take care, hopefully I will be seeing you next time.
Finish him! Fatality! Tanya wins.